what's happening, folks? Hope everyone is doing okay out in YouTube land. It is Jimmy G in the place to be, bringing you another episode of The Good, The Bad, The Awesome, where we talk about all things pop culture, whether it's anime, Star Wars, Transformers, whatever it may be. That's what we talk about. So if this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. You can hear my dog clickety clacking around. He's kind of lonely. He's kind of just going, won't you play with me? But if you've been here before, thank you. And for some of y'all that want to see my dog, there he is. That's him. His name's Higgins. He's a beautiful boy. But anyway, today is going to be a little bit different. I mean, we're very close to the 500 subscriber mark. By the time this video posts, we may be there, and then we'll have the 500 giveaway, which will be awesome. But I wanted to take a chance to reflect back and tell y'all a little bit about me. So I'm calling this session, and we may have more of these sessions, we're calling this Life in the Key of G, because I'm Jimmy G, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about myself. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I know that sounds a little pretentious, but I just want you to hear a little bit about where I'm coming from, what's going on, because this all sparked from a question that a viewer had in one of my videos, was wondering, when did I start collecting figures? And that's a complicated question. I mean, because I could say back when I was a kid or whatever it may be. I think the question is why do I collect figures? Because, you know, as a kid, you got them because you wanted to play with them. You wanted to have a good time. You wanted to play with your toys and all that good stuff. But as an adult, it's a little bit different, right? I think it's to remind you of better times and better things. So we're going to talk a little bit through that. So here's a little bit about me. So I started collecting figures just on and off throughout my life, but really started getting more serious about it. I would say it was in 2017, and here's why. So July 16th, 2017, my dad was murdered. Plain and simple. He was a good man. He was a elder at a church. He never did anything wrong. He was always a man of his word. He was a man of integrity. And someone came and took his life prematurely, and it took me by shock and surprise, and let me know that life's precious and life is short. You never know what can happen, so you got to live it to the fullest every day and do what you can to bring joy into your life and into others. So after that happened, I began to reflect just off of some good times. And I remember, because my parents, this is going back in the past to leave it a little bit more, adopted me when I was 9 and my sister was 8. So we were adopted. We were in foster care before that. So bounced around from homes. We really didn't have any toys per se. We had toys, but we had to leave them there because they were kind of like for the foster kids. But then we got adopted, and now we had a permanent family. And one of the first toys that I ever got was the G1 Sideswipe. And I'll put a picture of the likeness of that toy. I wish I still had one. I'm trying to find one, a really good one. I thought about getting me a reissue, but I think I want to get an original, so I got to save some money to do that. But anyways, that was my first actual toy that I owned, I would say. And I loved it. I mean, I played the stew out of that thing. Those joints were so loose, man. Transformers, that made me fall in love with it. And I started watching the TV show. And then I just grew up as that child of the 80s with Transformers and Thundercats, and how many of y'all remember Gummy Bears? Oh gosh, that was so awesome. And we had Mask. Oh gosh, if they ever redid Mask, that would be so cool. But I really love that. And then I started getting into comic books and things like that. But Transformers really sparked my love for things, because it was 2 toys in one, right? It was a car and it was a robot. And I would have all of my Transformers, which wasn't many. I had Sideswipe, and then I remember one year for Christmas I cried until I got Megatron, and I got Megatron, which was awesome. Not awesome that I cried about it, but awesome that I got him, and a few others. And I would always have my Transformers versus my little green, army men, and then of course my Star Wars figures and stuff like that. But Transformers was always my first love. And so fast forward back July 16th, 2017, got the news at about 3 in the morning. I was in Knoxville. My sister, who was a cop, who lived in Kansas, who wasn't on duty at the time, called me up and gave me the news. If she was on duty, that's her beat that she works, and she would have been called to that. And so fortunate that didn't happen. We were in shock and things. So one of the ways I coped with it was I began to think about the good times, and I began to think about, man, some of the fun times was, I remember, those toys and the things that I had, and I started, I went through a deep, dark depression time, and then got out of that. Thank you, my wife, who put up with that and who was supportive throughout that entire time. But came out of it because, life goes on, right? Life's not easy. It isn't. It's, you can't pray or wish that life would get easier. You just gotta hope you get stronger, and do what good that you can while you're here on this earth. And so, as you can see, part of my previous life is starting to come through, where I was a minister, and I like to encourage people. There's two things I like to do. I like to play with toys. I like to show off toys. I like to give stuff away. And three things, and I love to encourage people. And eventually I'm going to be starting a channel called Be Awesome, where it's just about words of encouragement and things like that. And I've got a book in the making called How Great Thou Art. And it's life lessons that I learned from my father, Art Goebel. But I digress. I'm like, this is my ADD mind just going all over the place. And so that's going to be fun. And that'll be in that vlog too when I start doing those vlogs. But just launching this one. But just to share, so toys, I started getting back into that and just kind of getting that joy of collecting them. And I started just being that in-the-box collector, where just keeping them in the box just to look at them and just stare at them and just think of better times and greater days and things like that. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start unboxing some of these things. So, I unboxed 1 and 2 and started to display them. And then someone said, you know what? You should probably video yourself, because I know people would love to see you unboxing those toys and the joy that it brings you. You should unbox those for other people. And so that's why I do what I do. I like to unbox it, not just to show you and kind of go over the pros and cons of the figures, but to bring back that childlike wonder that we all have had at some form, some fashion. Just to bring that back. So the why behind I collect action figures is because it brings me back to a simpler time, a better time, a time that was great, a time that was awesome to remember, and it gives you those endorphins and those things to go, you know what? Life is bearable. Life is okay. You can make it. You can get through it. This is just a road, just a little bump. And sometimes you need a bit of nostalgia to get you through some tough times. And I know some of y'all out there that maybe watch these videos and things like that, you're probably going through it. I mean, we've had a rough few years, right? We had COVID, and I was in the hospital for COVID. I didn't know if I was going to make it. Some of y'all, maybe facing like financial things. I mean, we all have tough struggles and things like that. But the only thing you can do is you can hope for yourself to get stronger. Have people around you that can encourage you. I am so thankful for my wife, who, number one, puts up with this craziness, this habit and stuff like that. And I see joy, and sometimes she sees those dollar signs, but she puts up with it. She knows it brings joy and happiness to me, and now knows that it brings joy and happiness to some of y'all. So that's what I would say is just, that's why I collect, and that's why I open, and that's why I started this channel, because I wanted to share that with you all. I hope that's why you see my channel is a little bit rough sometimes. It's a little bit raw. Not as refined or polished, because I always like to give my first reaction and things like that. But I want it to be the genuine me. I don't want you to say, oh, that guy looks fake, or he seems fake, or he's just putting on a show, and I don't want you to think that I live a life of glamour or anything. I'm surrounded by toys. I mean, well, I guess that is glamorous, but these things cost money, right? So this is just my sanctuary of fun, of happiness, and that I want to share that with each and every one of you all. So I hope that kind of encourages you and that inspires you, because you know what, you may be going through tough times, but know that you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. And you've got people that are there for you. I used to joke, if you think you're alone, stop paying your bills. And you think nobody notices you, you stop paying your bills, man, people know your first, middle, and last name. So you will be known. But no, people do know you. You right here, you're one in a million. I mean, you're not even that. You're unique. When you were made, the mold was broken. There's no one like you, and I think you should be proud of that. I think you should be proud of that, and know that, you know what, you're going to get through whatever you may be going through, and hopefully these videos of the unboxings and the fun and my silliness and stupidness will help you through some of that stuff. But honestly, you'll be getting yourself, you get yourself through that, and have people that you can surround yourself with. One of my sayings I like to say is, like, I have people that I go to dinner with, I have friends I go to dinner with, but then I have friends I go to war with. And those are the friends that you need, those ones that are there for you in the thick and the thin and things like that. And so I hope to continue to bring joy into each and every one of y'all's lives. And don't worry, this is just a little blip, and every now and then we may have a few of these segments, just a peek into my life. Some of y'all may wonder as well, that I don't know much about you. Well, all you gotta know is it's Jimmy G in the place to be, that's here to see all these toys and to be with you here in front of this camera. So you all just remember that. Y'all remember to stay young. I mean, just think about find that thing that brings you happiness. And I would encourage you, find that toy or find that whatever it was from your childhood that you go, man, this was better times, and that will give you that feeling like, you know what, things will be okay. Things will be all right. So y'all stay young, have fun, and thank you for continuing to be awesome. And thank you for continuing to watch. And here's to 500, here's to 1,000, here's to whoever needs to hear this. I hope you enjoy this channel.